What's going on, everybody? This is Alex with the Stock Operator channel, and I want to wish you and your family a happy holiday. Hope you guys had a great time spending time with your family and all that good stuff. So, in this video, what I want to do is I want to do a normal market monitor and account update video with some thoughts on next year, 2026, but also talk about 2025 and some lessons learned this year. So if that's what you're into, stick around. All right, so currently the account sits at 130,964, and as you can see here, the performance for the year is up about 31%. And I actually upgraded this app that I'm creating and added some portfolio metrics like Sharpe ratio, like beta, distance from a moving average of the equity curve, and then also just dollar amount of the average drawdown so that I could kind of hedge myself for that dollar amount, effectively, because the average drawdown in this account is about 2%. So that would be about $2,600. So that's the amount that I need to hedge. And I'm going to keep upgrading this app over time. Just little ideas that I'm just thinking of, and I can put it in the app. It's really cool. So yeah, with that, we're going to end the year pretty strong here, up 31%. If you guys have been following the channel for a little while, the goal with this is the account for my newborn son. He's about 15 months now, and we're trying to grow this thing slowly, about 25 to, let's say, 50% per year, with minimal drawdowns. Now, we had a really, really good year this year, but some lessons learned about this year is actually we could have been up a lot more. This entire year, this was very, very hedged. We had covered calls sold on every position. We had puts the entire way up, and we still got this performance. So, in hindsight, yeah, if we didn't hedge at all, we didn't have any puts, we would have been up probably close to 70% this year, which is a little unfortunate, but it's a learning, and I wouldn't change anything because, going into this year, especially after this, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to hedge again. And if we can continue this performance while we can stay hedged, that's the goal. We want to get out of this drawdown that we're in right now, get back to new all-time highs, but then also reduce the volatility, because at the moment, like the equity curve at the highs, if you can see, it's like it's having a little bit of a change of character here, where this whole uptrend was very steady, as you can see with the drawdown moving average right here. And then it's starting to get a little bit volatile. So we want to reduce that volatility. So we had some puts spot on the QQQ here, and we sold some calls on some positions. Now, a lot of the stocks we have now are high quality and high price. So it's hard for us in this account to purchase 100 shares and then sell a call. We're going to be actively hedging in other ways with indexes and that sort of thing, to make up for this calls being sold. Because I actually think that this year could be actually another good year to sell calls and get some protection and all that sort of stuff. So, we're going to end the year nicely up, and it's a really good year so far. All right, so what's in the portfolio going into 2026? So currently, this is the portfolio allocation. You guys can check it out, but it's a mixture of fixed income, some options, and then a diversified basket of stocks, essentially. We kind of are on some leverage because we have these long options, and then we had some profit on them, and then we sold against it, and then we used that money to buy more stocks. So the account is a little bit leveraged, but it's not like on margin. We're just using the options and selling against the options to get leverage and get extra cash in the account, that sort of a thing. So, we have a mixture of fixed income. And as you can see here, this is our fixed income section of the portfolio. But I could go over that more in some more detail later on in the video. But what I want to do right now is get into the market monitor and what that means going forward in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with the market monitor, essentially it's a cycle forecast tool. We have a green cycle, a yellow cycle, which is like a uptrend under pressure kind of a thing. Then we have a downtrend, and then we have the downtrend under pressure. And right now, we're actually in an orange cycle. That's pretty much how it works. This is my other chart of the cycle trajectory and where we are versus an average orange cycle. So we're doing pretty good. So if I scroll up here, right now we're day 3 orange cycle. The average orange cycle lasts about 3 days. So this is actually a pretty extended orange cycle. I was looking for more bullishness, but it actually, the reason why we bought some puts is because it's probably, going into January, we didn't get our follow through day rally day inside this orange cycle really quickly. So that's actually quite weak. Now we are up 1.3% versus an average of 0.69% down. Uh, but we should have seen a follow through day, and we didn't really see that strength getting out of this base that we're in. Now, we've had a really nice year this year, up 17% in the index. The average that it's supposed to be at right now is about 10, 11% for the index. So, really solid year for the index. I'm using the IWV index. And then we are at all time highs pretty much. The drawdown is nothing really. We're basically at all time highs versus an average drawdown of about 6% in an orange cycle. Now, our previous red cycle, as you can see down here, was a very weak one. So we were expecting some strength coming into this because we had a weak red cycle. We're not seeing that. So it's very choppy here. And, moving into maybe next week or the week before, if we don't see a very strong day, I mean, 0.7% up or more, that would lean more bearish, because it's just these things have to happen and they're not happening. So that probably means some weakness is going to come, and we could push ourselves back into another red cycle here. If we don't start moving up very quickly. Here's another look at the cycle analysis. This is basically just the average gains and losses, so that you guys kind of get an idea of what we're dealing with here. The orange cycle leads to a green cycle, and then the strongest days versus, I have this thing right here. The weakest day is day what is that, day 2 in orange, and the strongest day in green is day 1. We were looking for that day, which is about 1.3%. We haven't seen that yet, and that's what the market's set up to do. So the fact that we haven't seen that is a little bit bearish. So let's just get into some market internals I want to show you guys. All right, so I always like to start the video, especially this one, with the stage analysis. And as you can see here, green is stage 2 uptrends, red is stage 2 downtrends, orange is stage 1 basing patterns after declines, and yellow is stage 3 basing patterns after a rally. And we're kind of just in this no man's land where we're at the peak here of stage 2. I could actually bump this out a little bit longer so you guys can see, stage 2 typically peaks out around here from 40 to 50%. And I mean, yeah, we're already there. So we're going to take a deeper dive inside of stage 2 to like kind of see the health of it, which is, something we'll talk about a little bit later. But, a pickup in stage 1 is actually quite bullish, because, every time we kind of see this pickup in stage 1, we get a nice little rally. So interesting action on the stage analysis, but we want to see this stage 4 kind of dip below 20%. That would be full on bull market, and then stage 3 as well, and more things move into stage 2. Okay, so this is another chart I like to look at. This is the stage 2, like inside of it. Now, what do I mean by inside? I mean like early stage 2, mid stage 2, and late stage 2. And now we're finally starting to see a pickup in late stage 2 action and a decline in stage or normal stage 2. So typically before a larger drawdown, we need to see this long-term stage 2 kind of pick up here. Because like if you go out here in the past, before every kind of decline, now this was in 2023, October area, everything kind of declined. But, we like to see stage 2 be the dominant sort of stage 2 action. That means, the next pullback is going to be a deep one. Whenever we have this sort of pick up in here, I can actually put this out to longer. Whenever you see this kind of spike in stage 2, you typically see a long-term stage 2 spike as well, as you can see here, like it's happened, boom, right here, and then here's long-term, and then we had the COVID crash, right? And this is boom, this is 2021, and this is right before, this is November 2021 right here. Right before the bear market of 2022. And then this, boom, and then this is 2023, and then boom right here. This is October 2024, right before the tariff tantrum bear market right there. So, we're having this stage 2 thing right here, before another major decline of about 15 10, 15 plus, you kind of really need to see the stage 2B pick up. And that's what we'd be looking for in 2026. So still bullish on 2026 because of this indicator. Okay, so one thing that I'm watching closely is this AI. This is an anxiety index indicator. Okay. And so basically, what this is it shows you when to buy the dip. Okay. When it's good for intermediate to long term investing. And we're starting to see it's like declining rapidly. So that's not good for longer term investing. Uh, this thing is below 20,000, and typically below 20,000, it's not great opportunity. So if we go back here, look at 3 years, right? So this would be the April lows. Okay. This would be that August dip buy that happened there. This is this is the January right before the bear market, of course, right? Into the tariff stuff. And then boom, right here. And if I actually back this up a little bit more, yeah, it typically stays in between 20,000 and 30,000. But even before that in 2017 and stuff, it was like a very muted kind of a year. But before the COVID crash, we were at 9,000, 7,000 in this thing. And also before the um 2018 kind of dip, that it was like really low, sub 10,000. So just to give you guys a kind of broader view of how to read this indicator, we've kind of entered into a new regime here. But every time this thing dips below 20,000 into around like a 18-ish, 16, like it's not the best risk reward on the intermediate term. Okay, so this is my short-term momentum indicator, and like I was saying on last week's video, we could get a rally, which we did because the STMD was at the highs. It has now since come down, and now they are crossing. So we should be getting that bullish action, but we're not, which is interesting, right? We should be seeing nice bullish action, especially after this kind of pickup we saw previously. So this is not looking so good, the fact that we're not getting a broader move and we're not getting the follow-through day rally. All right, and this is the last chart I want to show you guys. This is the year to date chart here, and as you can see, it goes throughout the year, and then boom, every year it resets at 0, percent for the year to date, and you can kind of just see after these crashes right here, every time how the market has basically moved for the year or the inside of a yearly candle. And as you can see, this year we had this big decline and then a subsequent big rally. Last year, we had just a straight up rally with some pullbacks. The previous year, we had more of a choppy market, but with nice big momentum moves. Okay, the previous year, it was just a bear market decline the entire time. And then in 2021, we had this sort of a pullback kind of a thing. And the 2020, we had the big COVID crash and then subsequent major rally back to about 10% gains. And then here, where's 2019? This is right here, where it was going into a big decline. And so we had this big kind of choppy thing. And then 2018, we had this big choppy market into a decline. That was a down year. And then 2017 was a nice strong year. So, I mean, we could look at this a couple different ways. In the beginnings of the year, what does it look like? What does 2025 look like? Well, it kind of looks like right before 2019. So if we were to compare it, we would be expecting some kind of crazy COVID thing happening, or this could be COVID, right? The COVID kind of a year. It kind of looks like that, to be honest. It looks like a COVID sort of a year. So we could be expecting another strong year, okay, with minimal kind of pullback. Something like a 2021 is actually what I'm kind of leaning towards. A lot of people are expecting a big drawdown, and then another rally similar, maybe like a 2018 sort of a thing. But I mean, it's my market monitor stats. Everything is kind of looking towards a 2021-ish kind of year. So what did well in 2021? It was larger cap stocks. It was not the small caps. But one thing that's different between 2021 and right now is in 2021 we had inflation happening and the Fed was about to raise rates. And then now we don't have so much inflation. I mean, it's kind of peaking up right now, but we have the Fed trying to reduce rates. So I think it's all gonna. I think the next year is gonna be pretty much based on that, like whether inflation comes back, and we might get another 2021 before 2022 and 2027. And that's what I'd be looking for. Something kind of an inflationary, market where we're just expecting either rate cuts to make the small caps really go up and we get a blow off top in the market, or something like that. And so I want to kind of end this video just talking about some charts and what I'm seeing. And as you can see in my portfolio, I'm really into crypto. I'm looking forward to that in 2026, because I think Bitcoin right here, yeah, the moving averages have crossed, which is not so good. Okay. And a lot of people are saying that it's going to be a bearish market. And crypto typically is the leading indicator here. And there's just a lot of fear in this market. Now it's become uncorrelated from the major market. So two things could either happen. We can undercut this in a big way, and then we could start this fourth year cycle thing that everybody's talking about. But I'm going to take the other side of that bet. I think there's just a good risk reward here for this thing to bounce into next year. And I think there was a lot of a lot of pressure on this into the end of year tax selling, because it's basically the only things that people could sell for a tax loss this year. So I think there's a lot of pressure, keeping it down in December. And perhaps we start seeing the general market, like the QQQ, pull back here into January. And then we see the Bitcoin and the Ethereum rally, and that would be my call for January timeframe. But people saying the beginning of the year is going to be weak, or maybe after January it's going to be weak, and then I have a nice year. So that's kind of all I'm thinking. Those are my thoughts right now. We did make a new purchase in Novo Nordisk because they came out with some data on their Ozempic, or one of their GLP-1 drugs. And yeah, we bought the stock here on that day, and then we actually bought some more options. So that's the one position that we entered here for this week. And yeah, so hey guys, that's all the video. I really hope you guys had a great holiday, and I wish you guys and your family a happy one. So with that, I'll see you guys on next week's video. Cheers.